A bit late starting today on my live for Let's Reconnect. Thank you for being here with me, and I hope you're well. Been a while since we've had a Friday. May has just been crazy. Yeah, just a lot of unexpected things happening for me personally. So I wasn't able to keep it up, which is something that I always wanted to do. But I think moving forward, if I'm busy, I really want to try to keep doing the lives. It may be that the lives end up being kind of lives with the teaching in as well, because sometimes there's just stuff you want to talk about. I'm just going to, there we go, let's see. That's right, I've got, I can see there. We are live. So yeah, it's been a really interesting time, and I'll take my glasses off while I'm not reading, so that you don't get a lot of glare from the lens. So stuff I want to talk about today, archetypes, in particular relating to Ren. Isn't Ren fantastic? Have you gone down the Ren rabbit hole yet? I know some of you have. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then if you look back at the last video I uploaded, which was a response to Hi Ren, which is a performance really, it's performance art, it's not just a song. And this isn't going to sort of change the direction of the channel. I'm not going to start doing music reviews, don't worry. It's because it touches on something that's, well, it just touches on the human condition and really themes that relate to this channel, things we've been covering, spiritual themes, the meaning of life, big questions about meaning and purpose, and the self, in particular the self. Oh, I have something to show you. This is something that I had on my wall downstairs for a while, and I've only recently put it on the landing. I've just sort of changed the house around a little bit, and I saw it just as I was coming up the stairs to come in here to get all set up to record. And it's Love Your Bad Self, it says, can you see? And you know what, it just reminded me of what's happening in the Ren performance, which is really this dialogue with good Ren, bad Ren, good self, bad self, and how the solution to that psychological spiritual warfare is integration. It's that loving acceptance, understanding, or what did he say at the end? He says, I learned to soften. And I think this, when we think about the culture wars, all of it, he has a lot to say on all of those things too, which are recognizing the same thing, that we put these walls up through our self-righteousness, really. We decide which camp we're in, and then we fly our flag for that camp, and we resist anything in the opposing polarized tribe. And the answer is to soften, because these are just aspects of self. What I like most about it is, it reminds me a little bit of Ho'oponopono. So in Ho'oponopono, we recognize that there are patterns that just replay, and they've been replaying from the beginning of time. And when we do the Ho'oponopono practice, or when we do reconnective healing, we're not just healing ourselves, we're healing the whole, because there is no separation. We can't detach ourselves from the whole. We are not in a vacuum. We don't exist in a vacuum. It's funny because I was thinking, what would Ren talks about having haters, and I'm thinking, what would they say? How would you hate Ren? And somebody, it's a bit of a litmus test, you can actually ask people what they think of Ren, and what response you get kind of tells you where they're coming from a little bit. And this person said, oh, I can't watch much more of that self-indulgent whatever. And so they were criticizing it for being self-indulgent. And this made me think about the self. And so it's in that performance, you have the self as in the small self, Ren just thinking about what he wants to do with his music, and it could be you and I just thinking what we want to do in our so-called separate life, yeah? And having this dialogue in your head with just, that's all contextual to your situation. And then there's one bit where he says to the to the bad, the negative voice. He says, I'm gonna, I'm gonna wrap you up or trap you inside. And that's at the point when the negative voice speaks back and says, newsflash, I was created at the dawn of creation, I'm the snake in Eden, and so on. In other words, do you realize who you're talking to? Do you realize it's impossible to do that, because I can't be contained within you, even if you decide to try and shut me up, because I'm in the whole. I'm transcendent. I'm universal, and this is archetypal stuff. And similarly, when we do reconnective healing, we're not just healing ourselves in isolation. We're changing the program in that whole. And also the important message is, it's not about Goliath, is it? David and Goliath. It's not about, there are winners and losers in psychological warfare, he says. But it's a pendulum that swings. And that final line that sums it up, we are just two faces on the same coin. Yeah. So that's the dualistic experience. So much theology and philosophy and spiritual metaphysics in that song. Anyway, let's just see if you can hear me okay. Hi Dawn, hello. Hi Paul. You're on vacation in Florida. Oh, you're from Florida, you're on vacation. I hope you can hear me okay. Can someone just tell me if the sound isn't, because I have to turn the sound down. Just make sure that you can hear me okay. I'm assuming you can. Otherwise, you'd probably be telling me in chat. So yeah, lots of teaching, and let's see. Yeah, good. That's great. So we'll go into some reconnective healing. I know people often catch them on playback, and so. Yeah, without waffling too much, which I could talk a lot and keep on talking. And I know that some of you have been messaging me privately about things that your thoughts from the last video. But reconnective healing is really why we're here, really what it's all about. And it's a practice we can do where we step out of that small story. We have that remembrance of being one field, the same consciousness in me, in you, having a diverse experience, and what seems to be a separate experience, but it isn't really. Because when we do reconnective healing, we receive, and we're all receiving at the same time. No matter when we watch the video, this is why it's freaky, this is why it plays with our mind. But this is why it can be a tool that leads us into an understanding of non-duality. Because there's no other way we can make sense of the experience. And if you're still not convinced, then I invite you to experience with me now. So if you can, just sit quietly and maybe just hold your hands, maybe hold your hands out in front of you, because it's often in the finger. I mean, I think there's a lot of, I don't know, we have chakras, don't we, in our palms, and a lot of sensitivity in our fingers. And that's where we tend to feel the energy, the light energy and information. Especially as you bring your attention to it now, you may be able to begin to feel or sense this energy field. It's almost like a little current, and it's always in movement. You may feel it as if it's sort of running across your fingertips. I'm starting to feel that now. And as I start to move my hands, play with it, I notice different things. Notice it can feel quite fluid. It can feel like, a bit like when you're in the sea, when you're swimming, or, and you're just moving. And sometimes you get like a cooler zone, and then you get a little warm current coming in, so it can feel a little bit like that. Sometimes people experience light tinglings that are almost electrical. in sensation. So I just invite you to do that and just be open to receive. But in particular, know today that as you receive, everyone else is receiving too. And that's quite a beautiful thought, because this can be an act of service that we do. It's always our own need that brings us to that place of opening. But how lovely to think that you're also doing something for the collective, for the world, for your brothers and sisters, for your community, for your nation, for your world, for humanity. And so just take a few moments and receive the light energy and information that is Reconnective Healing. I'm sensing it down the back of my hand now as I'm holding my hand and stretching. I'm feeling like a current running down the back of on the skin, surface of my skin. Just tune into those really subtle sensations. Just then, as I moved into a particular place, it was as though I felt heat just here. And so any changes in temperature, just notice them. And just receive them with gratitude. Say thank you, because these indicators are really a concession for our benefit. It's to let us know that something is being activated. Doesn't mean that if you don't feel anything, an activation isn't happening. I think that is just, it's just a way of letting us in on the game. Just to lift our awareness and give us that faith that there's more to life than we think, and stuff is happening in the unseen. We're limited by these five senses, but there's so much more. We are multidimensional beings. Reconnecting to an awareness of your true essence, which is being a light being or a multidimensional being. That's what I'm hearing. That's what reconnection is. It's being born again. I'm hearing that's what is meant by being born again, being born into everlasting life. Because of course, if we were of the existentialist mindset, if we were materialists, we would think that everything ends with the death of the physical body. So being born into eternal life is only awareness. It's not an ontological thing. It's not some have eternal life and others don't have eternal life. It's to do with a shift in consciousness. So it's being in the physical experience with a knowledge that we are eternal beings. That's what it means to be born again. Awake while we are in the dream. Just feeling it now around my head here. I'm saying what I'm experiencing because I know sometimes when I do that, people will sometimes tell me later when they watch the playback that they got an experience, like a sensation somewhere, and the minute that they registered it, like a second later I said it on the video. So that sometimes happens. I'm also feeling like stinging almost around the back, my knuckles on the back of my hand here. It's tingling, but it's almost almost like almost a stinging sensation, like pins and needles. I just want to ask you to, in closing, hold your hands as though you're forming a vessel, symbolic of the fact that you are simply a vessel in your physicality. And symbolic of a mindset to receive, to be open, and for your cup to be filled, and indeed for you to experience fullness to running over. And so sit for as long as you need to sit, just in that position, making that gesture, inviting, waiting, and knowing that you will be filled. You are receiving the healing that you need right now. And in doing so, in your openness to receive, you are contributing to the healing of our world and of the human race, the human collective. Let's see what you're saying. Hi Rick, nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Dawn, thank you, my heart. Oops, that is so full. These sessions with you are such a blessing. Wishing you a wondrous weekend, and you too. Thank you. It was hidden. I couldn't read it because it was hidden by this big heart. Yeah, so yeah, it's been lovely to reconnect with you in real time, and big love to all those of you who watch back later. Hello, thank you from Holland. Hi, that's nice. Yeah, I chose 2 o'clock, and I know that it's quite early for those of you in the US, isn't it? Is it 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning? It's just trying to fit in with my day and when I'm able to, when the house is quiet. So I know that's why some of you can't join me early, but others of you in Europe, it might be a similar time. So I do hope to continue with the soulful living sessions that I've been doing, and all of the teaching is relating to being souls and what it means to be souls having an earthly experience. And so if you have questions about that subject, then please do ask, and look out for those uploads and also for the live sessions. And yes, if you would like to have a one-to-one session with me, you can do that. You can go to my website and see there more information about what it is, what Reconnective Healing is, how it works, and what would happen on a session on a one-to-one. So until next time, all my love, thank you for joining me. Have a lovely weekend. Take care and God bless.